Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited for tonight.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I had a terrible WOD. My asshole coach just
Oh,
programmed a terrible workout tonight. Oh, wait, he's on tonight with us.
wait.
We got a special week coming up.
Uh, it's been a dude. Serious. All right. So for everyone listening, Saxon Panchik's on. He's also my coach, and can I just complain now about about all the CrossFit Games workouts that happened in that single week? Like you do
Oh,
this every time. Anytime the Open happens or some competition that you're in, Rogue Invitational or whatever, Saxon comes back. To his credit, he doesn't make us RX them. We don't do like games level workouts, but they're still hard as hell, man. Like
we're ride
terrible.
or die. We're ride or die. We stick together.
Wow.
I cherry picked the hell out of that week. I'm not gonna lie. I did a few in my basement, but for the most part, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll be back in 5 days. It'll be good.
Wait, so this is real, Saxon. When you go and compete, you take the programming from the competition and you like adapt it for your gym always?
Absolutely, every time. So like
Huh.
a lot of the stuff that I do, like I'll tweak things, but I like to do anything that I do or I get to experience. Everybody's typically in the gym watches some part of it. So if I go through it, they have to go through it. Then there's like, oh, you should have moved faster here. Why'd you put the barbell down? It's, hey, why'd you put the barbell down? You tell me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So wait, John, when you watch Saxon and Spencer like out at like sanctionals or they're doing whatever at the games or whatever, like do you know in the back of your mind, in the pit of your stomach, that like you're about to go through some hell when they get back?
It's a different. It is honestly a different experience because like if you could belong at Cliffside, you get to see these guys do the Open. So like I get a pretty good sense, and I've seen them at Mentality before, so I have a pretty good sense of like what they do or
Mm-hmm.
what they're capable of, and up close and personal. And so like when you see them suffering in a competition, like yeah, that's coming. To the credit, like they always scale it back, so it's never like the exact rep scheme. Like
But the same stimulus.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
It is almost always. It is the same stimulus, and typically takes us, about the same time as it takes the pros because it's
Yeah.
less reps, less weight, whatever. It's just always. It's more fun for me to watch them suffer and see them do it live, and then they come back and laugh at us. So it is kind of like a
The give and
bookend
take.
experience. Yeah, it's a bookend
So
experience.
guys, right now I am at my gym. We're doing kind of like, I hate to call it like a mock open. It's
Hmm.
not that, but it's basically like an internal competition once a week for 4 weeks. So it's like open
Oh, that's
style.
cool.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, there's no fall open, but it's kind of prepping us for how the spring open could go. And we're
Yeah.
testing a lot of things internally. Like obviously we're testing like how we can judge each other from our faraway squares and like
Hmm.
with masks, without masks, like where can we go to do whatever. So it'll be nice if
Yeah.
we're still in these times in the spring. But also it was just like a fun fall activity to bring everyone
Something
together
to kind
since
of
we
train
can't do.
for. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something to train for, something to like get a good team mentality. It's called the House Cup because it's a Harry Potter theme because we're big
Yeah.
nerds at our gym. So like we're all sorted into like Gryffindor and Slytherin and all the whatever. And I gotta be honest, like I am getting just as like nervous and just as competitive with myself for this stupid little internal throwdown as I would be in the open. Like I get like the nervous belly, you know what I mean? Like at 10
Oh,
a.m.
yeah.
that morning, I know at 5:30 I have a workout to do and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so
This is
scared.
going to hurt.
Oh man, it's
I think you
been
always get competitive with your local group. Like in our workout tonight, we have a kid he's not a kid, but a guy in the class I normally go to that's way fitter than me. He's also way younger than me, as all of them. And I kind of used him for like I was like keeping pace with him in the first round, and then he ended up blowing past me, which didn't shock me. And then for like a minute, I'm like, oh man, I just got crushed in that. And then I go put my time on the whiteboard, and it like held up to virtually everybody but him.
Yeah.
nice.
And so,
Yeah.
but my point is that you get so competitive with the people around you, you kind of lose sight of,
Yes,
the bigger
totally.
picture of are you really kind of, on pace to where you
100%.
should be, particularly when you're competing or, kind of side by side with people way fitter
It's
than
all
you.
about surrounding yourself with those people that make that happen.
Well, fortunately for me at my age, everyone's fitter than me. So that makes it really easy to figure out. Really easy.
Well, the coolest part of doing this little internal throwdown is my brother is doing it with us. Ooh.
Oh, that's right. He started CrossFit. He's not dead yet. He's survived.
Almost. Yeah, he's still doing it. Like when he first dropped in with me a couple weeks ago, I remember coming on the show and being like, "You guys, this is insane. Like my brother came to a CrossFit class with me." But no, he's like, he now shows up even when I don't. Like I took tonight off because I'm too sore. And he was like, "Well, I'm going to class. See you later." I was like,
That's awesome.
Sax, do you remember what that was like? I struggle to remember what that, like, I remember being sore clearly because I'm sore all the time, but like you have a unique perspective. Like for you, it was probably what, when you were 12 or 13? Like, do you remember what that was
like last week?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
listen, I took 3 weeks off, and like this is my second day back, and I'm like wrecked. Like absolutely wrecked. And
what does it take to wreck you? Come on.
Games prep, apparently being on the demo team. That's what it takes.
There you go.
Going through those twice. But it's crazy. And I think this is like something important. I was debating on like whether I wanted to put a post out about kind of talking about this, but like no matter the level you're at, if you take time off, it's very hard to get back into the gym. And it's almost like kind of unmotivating. Like once you take like 2-3 weeks off, it's like like I got to get back in there, or like, oh, this is going to hurt. And like no matter where you are, I think that thought kind of goes through everybody's mind. It's just kind of a matter of just showing up and just getting something in, surround yourself with those people that like push you to get in there. But yeah, I like, it kind of allowed me to reflect on, just like the everyday person. And like, sometimes those people do need just a little push.
I think like my favorite part of getting to know you like elite athletes over the years and sort of diving deep into like, your training methodology and how your brains work and what your off time looks like and like all the little details that we learn in our interviews. My favorite part of all of that is eventually always coming to the realization that like you, even though in our minds, you guys are superheroes. Like you're able to pull things off that like not a single real human can do. It's really incredible. And then you always shock me with the same thought process that we have every day when we go into the gym, the same self-doubt, the same like, oh, I don't want to do this today, or like it's tough to take time off and come back. Like I am always so shocked, and it's always my favorite thing to learn that you are, superheroes in your feats, but still like, just like the struggle is real for all of us, elite level,
100%.
newbies, like intermediate, wherever you're at, like walking into the gym, we all think the same things. It's so cool.
For sure. And I think that's something like everybody has in common, but of course nobody ever wants to say things like that because it kind of like exposes or like what people would think was like a weakness, but like, it's really not. Like it's stuff that everybody thinks about. And like, whether it's like now or whether it was like the first time I started CrossFit when I was 12, like those same things go through your mind. And I don't care what anybody says. It happens to everybody.
I think something you guys do really well, Sax. I'm not trying to blow your head up here, but if you want to make me,
I already told him he's a superhero. So
I mean, if it gets me off the assault bike some, I'm fine with it though. But I think it's something you guys do really well at this gym is keeping a real positive environment. So like, I think it's really easy for amateur athletes like myself and Nikki and others to like get in kind of a negative headspace, whether it's you've had a bad day at work or you just had a couple of bad workouts in a row. Like even today, for instance, like I was coming in kind of dreading double unders because I had this new rope and I'm not very good on it yet. And is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And I think you guys do a good job of like getting the class like really pumped up and energized for a workout. Like how do you do that? On such a consistent basis? Like, is it, because it isn't just you, I mean, clearly, and it isn't just Spence, you guys have other coaches. Like, how do you get the coaches involved to have that motivation?
I kind of going back to it, it's stuff everybody goes through. And a lot of it for me comes to program. Hold on my dog just ran in. Hold on one second.
We'll get to see Nelly.
Hi, can we see him?
Nelly.
She's nuts.
Oh, hi, Nene. Oh my God, look at how cute she is.
That's my girl. Hi, Nelly.
Oh,
I'm
dead.
baby.
Is she a puppy?
Yeah.
See, but she's doing this.
She is digging into the couch.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Oh my goodness.
I love Nelly so much. She's such a sweetie.
She's nuts.
She's the best. Yeah, she's our gym dog, Nikki.
She is. Is she puppy or is she just small?
She's both. She's like 8 months now.
Oh.
But she's still like obviously kind of like a puppy, but she's getting bigger. But yeah, kind of going to like squirrel. But I think a lot of it comes back to programming and like how you program. So like, I think last week was one of probably the hardest weeks that we've had with our programming and just kind of like what we put our gym through. But a lot of it is being transparent with them of kind of what our goal is and like what we're trying to accomplish. But like, as much as you break people down with hard workouts, you make them sore, like you're pushing them to failure, you need to put things in there that's going to build confidence. Like where, you know, people are going to be able to jump up on the rope for the day and actually go through multiple repetitions, not like looking at a rope and being like, oh, I got 10 in a row here. I have 30 muscle ups in a row here. Like it's important to like change those workouts up. So we're doing a hero workout tomorrow and it's a 20-minute AMRAP, 1 rope climb, 5 burpees, 200-meter run. Like that's something pretty accessible to everybody. Everybody's good for 5 burpees. Everybody's good for 1 rope climb. So that will, I think, kind of build some people's confidence on those movements and just give them a good workout. Rather today we had ring dips and double unders, and those can be 2 kind of mentally defeating movements. So you just got to kind of sprinkle those in there a little bit to build people's confidence. And I think that's just kind of like the mind behind programming and being around it so much, and like just seeing even how other people program, like what would I change to make this better, and what did they do great in this. And I really kind of took that over the games weekend and kind of how Dave programmed. Like I was lucky enough to go out there while he was even still programming the events, and we were kind of testing them, and just to see the mentality that he had of like why he was tossing stuff in there, like it kind of like opened my eyes up to programming.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, like, because I think that first of all, a lot of people don't realize how much Dave is constantly like tweaking and changing and trying to make things perfect, like right up until the competition itself. Like I would not put it past him to change something on game day if he felt like it really needed to be changed. So I don't think people realize that like he's got some people that go out there and help with the process and test things as they go and test changes and tweaks. But Saxon went through the entire games week programming, like beginning to end, more than once. I think did you do the most testing out of any demo athlete? Yeah.
But I enjoy it though, because like that's like kind of like the mentality. Like the more you can be around Dave, the guy that creates the games, like I told him, like, you want me to do the trail run 3 times? I'll do it 3 times. Like, you want me to do that like at Atlantis multiple times? Like, I'll do it. And I think being around him is kind of like a yes sir mentality. You know, you don't question anything, because whenever you get there and you're competing at the CrossFit Games at that level, like you can hate any workout given at you, you're going to have to do it regardless. And I thought that was just kind of like training I was able to take away from that is whatever it is, I'm going to do it. And if I have to do it again, I have to do it again. Like it is what it is. And I think you just had to look at that as a learning experience.
Wow.
What most impressed you about his programming for this?
Why he puts movements in. So like typically, like whenever I was like on the outside looking in of how Dave programs, I would always look at workouts of like, okay, what's he trying to accomplish in this workout to break somebody? How can he make this more challenging? But when you're looking at a games weekend, you're looking at 12 events. Regionals is a little different because you're limited to 6 to 7 events, so that like every workout has to have a purpose. But when you're at the CrossFit Games, that purpose kind of goes away, because you're able to kind of sprinkle those in, but you're also able to sprinkle in events that are just straight CrossFit. And the workouts are just meant to be a classic CrossFit workout, and they're meant to dig deep and just kind of hurt. And a great example was the thruster burpee hill run workout. I think I did that one 4 times. But the first time he did it, I was like, okay, I think you might be able to go a little heavier. And he goes, that's not the purpose of the workout. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, like by the time some of those athletes got there, and it could be because like a thruster might be a stronger movement for me, especially a heavier thruster, But like when I tested it, I was like, I felt confident to keep those thrusters unbroken the whole time. Like, I think everyone's going to have no problem with that. But when athletes got there and like they were wrecked from the weekend already, you know, people were failing repetitions. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I looked at Dave and I was like, yeah, you got that just right.
Well, and I think
Um,
what was really cool about your participation is that you could say like you had gotten there and were confident in the thrusters, even though you had gone through the ringer the exact same way that everyone else had already done it. So I think that's like
yeah,
one of the keys of having you super fit people on the demo team
yeah,
is making sure that, you know, you can't just say like, oh, well, Spencer tested Atalanta and he was fine, you know,
yeah,
and have like, the haters kind of be like, well, he didn't just go
hmm
through the rest of the whole week. Like he sure
yeah,
as shit did.
for sure.
Absolutely he did.
But like, I can also feel for the athletes too. Like, whenever you're in a competitive environment, your times are probably going to be a little faster.
Mm,
With intensity, you're going to get more sore. That's just a known thing in CrossFit. Like you look at Fran, like if you hit it hard and you shave off 10 seconds, you're going to be really sore rather than if you kind of just lollipop through it and you put up like a decent time, like you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be fine.
mm-hmm.
But what those guys went through is like, it was high intensity every single workout. Um, they had stuff on the line, like their nervous system was completely shook from the weekend as it was, and that was something that I didn't really have to go through or experience. So it was more of kind of like a laid back thing. Like everything was kind of fun, everything was grooving, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to go through that. So like it's also hard for me to kind of say, you know, like I know exactly what those athletes felt like whenever, you know, that's a big difference.
Yeah, you're
Did you
right.
get the twist on the trail run, or was that a
Hmm.
surprise for you?
Oh no, I I so when I did that against Christy, and Christy's a really good runner. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this year I've been working so hard on my running. Like, and when I went out to the games, I was like, listen, take risk, like push yourself, and like you're going to be able to compare yourself and kind of see where you stand, which a lot of athletes didn't have that opportunity. So I was like, you know, you're blessed with this opportunity to come out here, like test yourself, push these workouts hard, take risk, and see how you feel. And I was like, all right, well, like let's do this, Saxon. So I was like, okay, I have a lot to prove to myself on this run. And how we were briefed on it was it's a 3 to 7 mile trail run. And they drew out the map for us. And it was like, as soon as you get to the firing range, you just run to the bottom of the hill. And that's the loop. And I'm like, okay. So I pushed the run all the way up to that point, and I'm like just seeing these check marks. I'm like, we're almost there. Like we're almost there. And I come down, and I think I did my first loop in like 22 to 24ish minutes, maybe 25. It was pretty quick. And I come across the finish line, and I just like, I'm dead. And Dave goes, all right, now you got to go back and do it in reverse. And I just looked at him, and I'm just like I yes, sir. and just started my walk up the hill. And it was funny because I was the first one down there. I was like, you know what? These guys need to experience what I felt like. So as I'm walking up the hill, Christy comes down. I'm like, good job, Christy. We're almost there. And totally acting like I was just cheering them on. And that way, whenever they got down there, they still kind of had that surprise. And I said, hey, when we get past these other guys, act like you're cheering them on. So we acted like we were cheering those guys on, and they of course still had the surprise. And I think it took me like probably 45 minutes to go do it in reverse. So like almost double the time.
Oh my
Oh,
God. My heart was like just up in my throat when I was watching that event. That was my all-time favorite event of CrossFit Games history. It was my
Hands
favorite to
down.
watch. It was my favorite to be at. It was like everything was, it was just so like, you just knew it was coming, and it was just like the most insane test, not only of fitness but of like mental grit and fortitude, and we just hadn't seen anything like that. I just thought it
Oh,
was like the most epic way to like make a 2020 games sort of have like this big exclamation point on the end, is like introduce something along those lines.
for sure. And I got to do that 1-2 times. So I was able to kind of test myself going through it and actually knowing what the surprise was. But it was really cool to see that it didn't get leaked by anybody. Like no athletes
Mm-hmm.
had any idea. And seeing that race between Frazier and Medeiros, so you're like, I looked at Dave and I was like, these guys are going to be dead. Like,
Oh my God.
it's hard. If you push that first one, it's hard to come back from that. And the fact that those guys held on to that was super impressive.
Well, so I'll have to say, like when Dave posted a photo of you on the trail run, prior to the games, and you look like death. Like I saw it and I said to someone, I'm like, man, I have never seen Saxon look that close to dying. Like whatever he is doing here must be terrible. And then you came back from California, and Nikki, this is fact. Like I have a policy. I don't ask. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what they've done. And Saxon is really good about not telling, right? Like,
Of course.
we like, there's just that thing. It's like, don't ask, don't tell. I don't want to know. I'll say like, how was your trip? How you feel? Like those are the questions I ask, but I don't really want to know what happened. Like, I don't want that responsibility at all.
Right.
And so
He
as soon
wouldn't
as
tell you anyway.
well, I know he wouldn't. I know he wouldn't. But my point is, it's like when I saw that trail run, like it instantly, like I flash back to that photo. I'm like, oh yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
That was what killed him. And that's a tough swing. Like selling out on a run and then them going do it again. Like I've done enough runs in my life, like trail runs, to know, like mentally that would be crippling. Absolutely.
I think that back hill was 3/4 of a mile up. I mean, I was practically crawling up it. There was a fence there, and I was actually grabbing onto the fence to try and pull myself up it. Like, I called that picture I called it the zombie walk, and like that's all that was all the way back was just death.
It doesn't, none of the like photos, even the coverage, like even the helicopter shots, which were badass, by the way, in the broadcast, none of it really is does the hill justice. It is really a small mountain.
I called it Heartbreak Hill.
Oh yeah, it's a good way of putting it. It's total. If anyone has run the Boston Marathon, you know exactly what that means.
So bad. So the one thing that was interesting for this game, Sax, I'd really love your opinion on that we haven't seen before, was that the swim assault bike slam wide, which is obviously something, thank God, you can't program for us because we can't swim.
You mean the wet balls WOD?
Yes, the wet balls.
I will never live that down, ever.
Yes. Yeah. So
they were wet. It was a thing to talk big. The athletes were slipping. They could not grip the ball. And I said wet balls on the air.
They were
awesome.
Wet. There were lots of balls to the face. So what was your, like, just, I don't know, just your opinion on the WOD itself? Like, and then, how did it feel as you were doing it?
I thought it was very cool structure. We've never seen a workout program like that at the games. I mean, we had the 2-2-2-3 chipper, which was kind of like similar, where you had those interval styles. But for this one being overall time, it was a mental test like the whole weekend. You did not know where anyone was at, and it didn't matter. Like you could sell your soul on that first one and fall off, and like it could be enough, but it also couldn't be enough. And I thought that was really cool because a lot of people can tend to like feed off of where they are in a competition, and that wasn't the case here. And I thought even the whole weekend was who had a bigger reason to be there. Like, I don't want to say a bigger reason to be there, but like you mentally had to be strong to go through that weekend. Like working out without music, working out without fans, like that's a lot mentally. And it was just a lot of self-talk over that whole weekend for those athletes. And you could definitely tell the athletes that, were able to kind of mentally stay there. And you could also see where, mentally athletes kind of fell apart. And like, I think everybody had a moment of that. And, I thought that was a cool aspect Dave was able to bring this year.
But so I'm dying to know though, that was a good WOD for you, wasn't it? That's like, right. I thought it was
like
right.
That one.
I thought it felt like it was right in your wheelhouse. Like Sax loves to program these, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off WODs, for 4 or 5 rounds. They're mentally brutal. They're so brutal.
100%.
If you get to that like 3rd or 4th round, you're like, oh my God, I got to do another 3 minutes. Like,
you can't stop because you have built-in rest.
For sure.
Oh, it's terrible. But when I saw it, I'm like, that would be a good one. I would have loved to have seen you in that group of 5 for that one, because that was right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. But that one came down to like, when I did that one, it came down to like a lot of mistakes. Like if that ball slipped out of your hand on a
because it was wet.
Because it was wet. But if that slipped out of your hands, like you're missing a whole repetition, which is 3 to 5 seconds. And then mentally that's sticking with you like, okay, I need to think about this. And I thought that workout came down to seconds of getting on the bike, having a good dive into the pool. I watched a lot of people kind of do a belly flop, and you know, like that's easily an extra 6 strokes that you have to do in the water. So I think that workout really came down to who could minimize mistakes.
Yeah. There were a ton of no reps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so many. I noticed the diving thing is particularly on the women's side.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember. It had to have been Tia.
Yeah.
You know, like she would get in behind someone, but her dive in was so perfect.
She was the last one in the water on round 1.
And
And yet I think the second one out.
Yeah.
such
So
a good
fast.
swimmer. So it
So
is
fit.
It's really interesting though for me to hear you talk about these, like outside of like kind of our day-to-day wads, like how you games athletes think about things in terms of 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Like if I miss a rep, this happens. If I miss a rep here, that happens. You know, it's just such a different mindset.
I think about my wads in terms of like 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
God.
I tend to think like, if I take a break here, will anyone notice? That's all I think.
I have a ton of questions about the final event, about Atalanta. First of all, do you think that it lived up to the hype that Dave Castro himself put on it by saying that it was going to be the hardest event ever programmed at the CrossFit Games?
So I think there's 2 types of hard. There's mentally and metabolically hard. And then there's just like, okay, metabolically hard. And then there's mentally hard, where it's just a long grind. And then there's this hurts and like, that's hard. You know what I mean? And I think that was definitely one of the toughest tests that he had, more mentally. Like when I went through that, my heart rate was relatively low. And I think a lot of it kind of came down to your pull-ups and just willingness to just keep jumping up. You're doing sets of 3, 5, 7. Some people I think did 10s, but like, how long are you going to wait to jump up? Like you really can't gauge where people are at on those. You know, like you're looking at a quick workout, you see someone move their bar. Okay, they're 3 reps ahead. Okay, they move another 3, they're 6 reps ahead. But there wasn't that. And when we went through that, we were on one rig, and like all I was doing was just trying to hear what people were at. Like I'm at like 170 and I hear Christy, we're at 160. I'm like, oh no, she's catching me. And then like I see someone else jump up. I'm like, okay, like that gap's closing. Like you need to pick it up. Like you're kind of falling asleep on these transitions. And I think a lot of it kind of came down to that. And being able to like, you're guaranteed to rip your hands practically.
Yep.
Normally I'm really soft about my hands, and like my hands were just, I think I ripped it. So I wasn't even halfway. And Dave looks at me and goes, what, did you rip? And I was like, and inside of me,
dick.
Yeah. And I was like, I look at him, I'm like, no, I didn't rip. And I just jumped back up. And then I just kind of refused to look at my hands after that. And it was just, it is what it is.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was just look, like you can be as mentally tough as you want. Like a hand tear can be a debilitating kind of an injury. It's so stupid and small.
For sure.
And you don't even want to like admit that it's like a thing, but like,
yeah.
Holy,
you think your hand's gonna fall off? You might lose a finger.
Yeah, like in the a total scheme of things that really friggin' hurt. Like it's stupidly way up there, unfortunately. And I don't understand how halfway through you were able to keep going. I don't know how Haley kept going. I don't know how Brooke kept going. Like I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Are you able to shut out that pain? Like I saw that happen with Haley a few times, like where, you know, hers were so bad. I watched her jump up and grab the bar and then immediately let go, because you could just tell the pain was too much. But she was probably like at that point 250 in. Like, is there some point you can just cut it off and keep going?
Well, I mean, at that point you're just like, okay, I got to do these no matter what. You know what I mean? Like I can sit here and complain about the situation and like do singles, but like, you know, what's that going to look like? You have to do the reps. But that was another cool thing I liked about that workout was I thought it was kind of funny because T and Matt had a really big lead, but they still had to do 300 pull-ups. Like it wasn't one of those typical fast, like Cinco 1, Cinco 2, or the Fibonacci where it's just like quick, done, low stress is what it is. No, you gotta do 100 push-ups, 200 pistols, 300 pull-ups, and 2 miles of running. Like, so I thought that was kind of cool about it. But I also think, like, you look at Noah in that event, I think he had to take first place in that in order to be on the podium. And that it's a 60-minute workout, 60-minute workout. So you have a lot of time to kind of reflect to yourself of how bad do you really want that. And I think if the scoreboard was really close in that with the top three, or like whether you're going to win the games or you're not, I think that would have been very interesting. And I think you would have seen a lot of shifts because there's a lot more pressure on that workout. I think by the time that workout came along, everybody already kind of knew their place and where they were going to finish. And it was just a matter of holding on to that.
So here's an interesting question. Someone asked me this last night in my story. I'd be curious on your opinion on it. They asked me if I thought that workout was irresponsible, for, keeping in mind that it's for games athletes, not for everyday athletes like us. Like,
Wait, what?
Well, meaning you got 300 pull-ups where literally everyone's ripping their hands. So that's an injury. You're creating injury with a workout. I didn't personally find it irresponsible, but I guess the question is, do you think any of these workouts over the last few years, where we've seen several like this that were kind of escalating and difficult, the difficult nature of it, do you ever feel like they're
No, I personally
think
athlete, but I think Dave could crank it up more. Personally, I mean, I would always love that. I mean, I'd love to see a full week of games programming where, you go kind of like what Rich was going to do. Like, I think Rich was going to do 2-1, 1 off, 2-1, 1 off, 2-1. Like, do something like that where, okay, Monday we're going to do a light cycling, a 95-pound snatch, and then we're going to do a 1-rep snatch on Friday. Like, where you can get the full perspective of, like, you are not going to hide from this test. Like, it's a typical training week. And I don't think people don't understand how much work like games athletes put into their training leading up to something like that. Like, it's a lot more than that. Now, again, where it changes is the intensity. You're bringing more intensity in a competition, so you're going to be more sore. I would say that's probably the only thing. And then mentally, like, if you're pushing that hard mentally, who can kind of stay with it a little longer? Now, I think Dave does a great job. I think 12 events is enough to find the fittest on earth. But, like, if he really wanted to test people, I think he could do it over a week and have 18 to 20 events. Like, I think that would give you a clear picture, not for first place or even second or third, but it would give you a clear picture of who the top 10. And again, not saying that he doesn't do that already, but I just think that that gives a lot of shifting time for the leaderboard to shift a little bit. And, like, by Sunday in a typical CrossFit Games, you're seeing, 5 through 15 shift a lot. Because people were falling off. Like, anyone that couldn't hold on to, the volume and the intensity, like, you tend to notice that they fall off by day 3. Like, imagine if there was a day 4, like, those guys are definitely going to drop off. And maybe we'll eventually grow into that. Maybe we won't, but I'll be ready.
I would love that.
Oh, I would
Plus,
love
it carries it out for, like, the fans.
Yeah.
I also thought something like this would be really cool, is, like, have a CrossFit Games be a year-long event. So you have one portion in the first quarter of the year, and all those points carry over into the second quarter of the year. And then you have your third quarter and then your fourth quarter. And it's the total points over 4 quarters of the year. So you might be looking at 45 to 60 events. I thought that would be really cool because you can take these athletes to different locations. You could take them into the mountains one time. You can take them to the beach. You could take them to the desert, whatever it is. And I think that would just be something really cool to do, even if it was just something for fun.
Question. I'm so here for this. Okay. If it's a year-long event, and let's say, like, first weekend of every quarter is, like, when you have 2 or 3 days of programming or whatever. But if it's a year-long event, how do you qualify?
Well, and I think that would be the thing. Well, and I think there's different things that could happen. I think it would make it turn it more into professional sports. So, like, now what happens for sponsors is it's like, oh, I got representation 4 times out of the year. Like, that's really good. And I think if you finish top 10, you stay in that. So, like, no matter what, if you finish top 10, like, you don't have to qualify again. You get to stay there. Now, I think, like, the back 30, or let's say the top 20 can stay there. So, like, if you're top 20, you're guaranteed that, like, it's giving you consistency with your sponsorships, and it's giving you consistency with your training. And now the back 20, is when you're in jeopardy a little bit. So you might have to go to an event right in December, and from there they take the top 20, and this is the new top 20 for the games.
Ooh, one qualifier. I like it. It. Pressure's on.
But I mean, with 20, I think like top athletes, like that's very attainable. If you're truly well-rounded, you're like, okay, top 20, like in an event like where there's swimming, running, like legitimate judges. I think that would be really cool because there's nowhere to hide in that. And you can have a mistake and still finish top 20. And you just take those top 20 for the next year. Now this is just ideas, and
I know.
Takes a lot of money. That takes a lot of money to like pull that off, and a lot of man work. But I think it's something that would make it a little more of a professional sport. And again, consistency. And I think that's one of the biggest things for athletes is financially being able to like actually do this. And I think this would be something to do that. Like if you finish top 20, you make a minimum of $35,000, and that pays for your full year and travel and stuff.
The real question, Sax, is do you guys really want to lose to Frazier 12 months in a row? I mean, look at that. Not even a smile. I love it. No,
it's like anyone can win, John.
I know.
Anyone can win.
Here's a legit question though, because I don't disagree with it. Like, Sax and I have talked about this a lot. Like on any given day, anybody can win. And I still believe that. But as an active competitor, I think for you, Sax, and not for me, clearly. I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, John.
No, you should have laughed. I think we all have to recognize though, like Frazier right now is like the Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods of our sport, right? Like as a competitor,
Absolutely.
like out there on the field with him, like how does it feel like seeing that, like competing against the best of the best that has ever come in the sport before? Like, how is that for you?
Well, here's the thing. And this is something I was able to kind of learn this over the weekend, and it's something that I've been kind of sitting on. But to beat someone like that, you can't be scared of someone like that. And I'm not saying be scared of someone like that, but like you can't idolize them and be like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, and get caught up in like trying to train like them, because what's to say like I can't train a different way and beat them. And like if you're training like exactly like someone, you're going to get the same result. Like, what do I need to do to get a different result in order to beat him? I don't want to just tie him or have a race. And I think that's something you see with a lot of rookies is like, you have those rookies that come in and they're like, oh my gosh, like it's Matt Frazier. Like, let me get a picture, or like things like that, where they're like kind of looking up to them. But then you have those rookies that step up and be like, all right, like Medeiros was a great example.
Yeah.
On that trail run, he was ready for it. And I think mentally he might have lost it a little bit at the end. Again, like that dude put himself, like, I can't take anything away from that. Like that was such an impressive time. But the fact that he held on for that long, like just showed you like he did not fear him. And I think you just have to carry yourself like that. Like you can't fear anyone. Like it's a workout. You know what I mean? Like anyone can win any given workout. And like you can't take yourself too serious either, because like you're good at working out, you know what I mean? Like, but I think that's a really cool thing. But like, it's also like something that it's like, you're going to be working out your whole life. And, like it just so happens that we're blessed that people want to watch us work out, and we're able to have a sport of that. But yeah, I just think you have to carry yourself with confidence, not cocky, but you got to be confident in your training and know that like you did everything you can to prepare for that, and not get caught up in trying to race him, but just kind of do your thing.
I really like that, because I think everyone has such respect for Matt and Tia and anyone else who like, plants their flag in the sand, plants their flag in the sand, whatever, makes a mark. Like, you know what I'm saying? Makes a mark. It makes a mark in this sport, and having respect for them is different from not believing in yourself that you could be there too. Like as an active competitor, you have to go into every competition being like, hey, I'm here to win. What's up? What's up? Fittest man on earth. Like I'm here for that title too. Cool. Yeah. So I like your take on it, because I think you can be both. You can feel both. You can, respect and understand that there are people who are great at these things. And you can also come in with as much confidence as necessary to be like, cool, but I'm here now.
Absolutely. And like,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, but like you can't walk in there and be like take anything away from him because he's
Yeah, of
worked
course
so
not.
hard for everything, and like you don't want to look at him and be like I'm here to win the games this year. Like it's just like yeah, of course everybody like
Right. Everyone is.
like everybody's here, and like I think Adler said something we can't let him win every event. Like
He did say that. He was like, can someone please just beat this guy? We can't not let him win every event.
But like that, and that's like that was another thing I was able to take away from the weekend is like, okay, where did these athletes slip up, and where did these athletes succeed? And like everybody had a point in some part of the weekend where they either slipped up or they were able to succeed a little bit. And I think that was one of those moments where saying that is like, okay, now that's kind of like sticking in your mind, like, okay, this guy's great. It was only event number 2.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you got 10 events left. Like there's still plenty of time. Like don't get caught up in like thinking like, oh my gosh, like he's going to smoke us in every event, because that might not be the case. I mean, it could be the case, but you don't want to carry that even in your subconscious mind. Like even like hearing something like that, you're like, oh, like he is really good. Like maybe I shouldn't be here. Just something like that. Like being in the CrossFit Games, you don't want to have any doubt in anything, whether it's your training or how you plan to approach a workout. And you just kind of have to put the blinders on over the whole weekend. Like you could easily see a workout at the end of the weekend where it's like, okay, this is 500 points. You never know.
I kind of wondered. I was thinking going into it that he was going to be like, Atalanta's the hardest workout ever and it's double points or something like that.
Like you never know. And like, even if I'm behind an event, like I'm always telling myself that like this could have 3 scores in it, or like just something like that. Like you have to go out in every single event, and give it your all. Like there's no reason anyone should go into that last event and lollipop it. And I'm not saying anybody did that. I think everybody, gave their best effort, but in a long event like that, it's kind of easy to like settle in where you are. But he could have easily thrown them into another event after that. And it's just, you don't know. And that's the whole thing about CrossFit. Great thing about CrossFit. It's the unknown, and you never know what can happen.
So here's a question, Sax. So I've been watching, here's a Netflix recommendation, Nikki, The Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
Oh, the chess one? Is that the chess one?
It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. You got to go watch it. It's a short series, like 7 or 8 episodes. But in it, this girl who's a chess wizard is always studying grandmasters. She's reading books and studying the others. Do you do the same? Like, would you look back at these events and watch Frazier or Adler or any of these guys that competed and like take mental notes for your own, source of reference?
Or are you filming and Bill Belichicking the events?
Sometimes it's something that I'll do like occasionally, but it's something I'm not going to like stress about, because the last thing I want to do is watch like you can have two reasons why something. One, you're watching something to like see how great they are, but there's another reason to watch something and see what you can do better. Like Frazier is a great example, and Spencer was kind of talking to me about it and how he was approaching the workouts and like what he was seeing from him, and I was like kind of able to watch that in person and just see like why he was able to do so well, like how he was able to like suck someone in very close to him and then pull away very quickly. And like a lot of that's just like kind of mental toughness and like almost kind of playing mind games with people. But I've looked at previous years. So a great example is I was looking at Cut 1 last year. Cut 1 was an event that I did decent in, but I hurt so bad in that event. I think it was one of the hardest events that I went through last year. And I was like, okay, Frazier crushed me by 3 minutes. Like, let's see what he did. And really an event like that, like, unless you can't do rope climbs, like you're not like the rope climbs are going to be very similar. And unless you can't move a barbell, the barbell is going to be very similar. So like my thinking was, okay, the separator is the run. And I watched his runs, and his first run was like a minute 19 for 400 meters, which is fast. And then it was like a minute 32. And then it was like a 148. And then I think it was like a 202 or something like that. That's just a ballpark. And I was like, okay, like if I just slowed my runs down to a minute 40, like my coach says for me to do, and actually just listen to myself and not get sucked into people, you could set yourself up for success, and you could knock 15 places down on, what I finished on the leaderboard. And that was really the only one that I looked at, because that was enough that I was able to kind of take away from that is like, stick to your game plan, like put the blinders on, and don't get caught up in other people's race. Like everybody's going to want to race. Everybody wants to win, but you don't train like that. Like I don't train like that at home. It's something to do that in a short event, like a 21:15:9. It's another thing to try and do that in a 15+ minute workout.
Totally.
It's just
sorry, I yap a yacht.
No.
That's like, that's legit insight. I'm like, wow, that is the mind of an athlete. That's like, I can't even
Hopefully
do
there
that
aren't
kind
too
of
many
math.
athletes that watch this. So.
No, nobody actually.
I'm putting my
listens to this.
secrets out.
Well, look,
Every day I wonder who even downloads this to listen to us talk about nothing.
and look, I think it is really interesting to hear and to see how everyone trains a little different. Like I think in Matt's case, he's training with Tia, so he's got like kind of that visual of someone doing it. And you've got Spence, like you guys get to train together. So it is
got a visual of yourself doing it.
I know.
Well, listen, but we're complete opposites.
Well, this is true.
Wait, how so?
We've evened out a lot more, but I was always like kind of like the cardio guru, and he was always like the strong guy.
Got it.
But his weights have cut back, but his cardio has gotten better, and my strengths have gone up. My cardio, like it's just kind of been like.
Nikki, here's how you guys are doing. Let me tell you.
How are they different? I can't.
Here's how you're different as coaches.
Spence likes to hurt, and I just stay relaxed.
I'll go to Saxon and go, what should I do on this WOD? He'll like, all right, you should break up this every 7, and then really think about getting to this time at this point of the WOD, and if you're not there, you should do this. And like he's got it all broken down. I'll go to Spencer. I'm like, what should I do? He'll go, just go for it, bro. Just go for it.
That's spot on.
It's true.
Oh my God.
It's
just
absolutely
redline
true.
real
Yeah,
fast.
just go until you can't go anymore and see how it feels. I'm like, why would I want to do that? Why do I want to see how it feels? Now, to his credit though, like he's figured that out. Like he knows what it feels like. We've all seen him do that. Matter of fact, was it 19.5? I think it was the chest to bar and thruster WOD a couple of years ago.
Oh my God.
You guys did that at Mentality. And it's Nikki, I'm not exaggerating. I don't normally get like nervous watching professional athletes. That's the first time I was legit scared for someone. Like Spencer was going so hard. He literally collapsed when it was over. Like he missed a thruster at 95 pounds, for God's sakes. He was going so hard and then just collapsed it. Then I'm like, was he dead? What just happened? Like, I think he just died.
Should we give him CPR?
Oh my God. It was like,
are you like, leave him? Keep going.
He'll be okay.
He'll be fine.
There's always a redo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They do have different mentalities that way, both as coaches and as athletes. It's fun to watch though. And I do think you guys have evened out more though. He seems to have figured that out. Like, in the last couple of years, even like it's just
he's become a little more clever.
Well, I mean,
with approaching workouts.
Oh my God. Well,
is it fun for you guys? I know that it's hard. It's so fun to work with family. It's so hard to work with family.
No, I love it. Cool. I think it's different, especially being a twin. That is like we've always been together, so like we can hate each other 1 minute, but you're gonna get over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're always competitive, so it's just something we have to keep reminding ourselves that like there's a time to be competitive and there's a time to focus on actually training and practicing, because that's what training is. It's practice.
Yeah.
I think you guys have always done a great job, like as an entire family of. At least you never see it from the outside. I can't speak about what happens behind closed doors, but both from, when it was, all 3 of the boys together, and actually, I guess the 4th, you throw your other brother in there, but, Papa Pan's always around. Like everybody's always, in the best of spirits and having fun. Like you guys always seem to have a lot of fun as a family, which I really,
that's really cool.
Yeah. My family's not here, so I really appreciate that.
Papa Pan keeps us in check.
Yeah, I believe it. Also, like, what are they feeding you, Panchiks, for God's sake? Like, I don't understand how you can have like the world's fittest family. It's disgusting. What the hell?
Spaghetti and pizza. That's it.
Oh, well, I'm coming over for Mama Panchik's spaghetti and pizza then, because I could use just like an ounce of that fitness.
I want to do a CrossFit Dad series, and we'll
That would be awesome.
have Papa Pan on here.
Yes.
Because some of his
Oh.
stories, Nikki, are like,
You'll be on
Okay.
here all night.
yeah.
Oh my God. Can we can have Papa Pan. We can also have
You know, you
Froning
need to put
Senior.
Froning
need to
Senior,
put-
Ken Paulson's dad. Like, there's so many.
Who?
put my daddy and Ben's dad together, Smith.
Oh my God. Papa Smith is so fit. It's not fair.
Those guys.
That's
came
another
at the team
family.
series. They did a team series, and they all came out, and we had all. I don't know if you were there or not, but they had all the masters do it. So like they brought all the dads out, and they went through the team series workouts, and they partnered up together. It was pretty cool.
I'm so into this.
Nikki, this is true. So I forget what year it was. I think it was the year you guys all went to regionals or something.
Yeah.
You were all gone. And so Papa Pan had to run the gym for the day.
Stop it.
And he put us through a warm up that was literally the most brutal warm up I have done in 10 years. And we were running the rig. We're doing sprints. He had us doing ab work. We're doing like flutter kicks. Like, it was horrible. It was literally the worst moment of my life. I'm like, what are you doing to us? You know, they all came back. I'm like, please don't ever leave us with him again. It just was not fun.
He had his moment of glory. He like really wanted to leave his mark on the gym.
Oh yeah. We've taken little bits of that, and yeah, we've learned everything from him for sure.
My God, I'm really into this dad series. We can have Spencer Hendel's dad on.
Yeah, so
Papa
many.
Hendel is so fit. Oh, I'm into this.
I think
This
we
is really
could do
cool.
a whole dad series. We'll lead off with Papa Pan because he's about the funniest dude you've ever talked to, and he's got about 1 million.
I'm here for it.
It'll be all good.
That's
So
great.
so what's next?
Yeah.
What's your next comp? Like, what are you planning for? Open? Is that going to be next
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. I mean, we still don't have too much clarity on next year, so like I took some time off and just really kind of enjoying things. I'm moving now, so it's like enjoy that and relax and don't put too much strain on training, but like obviously it's super important to keep getting things in. But that's one thing I really try to focus on this year is giving myself an off season, because I've learned that it only takes about 6 weeks to get to your peak shape for a sanctioned event, and anything more than that you're just gonna won't
For
make
you.
I'm like, wait a minute. You know how long it takes me to get into peak shape?
Yes.
Oh my God. I have to go eat chicken and broccoli
James,
for 14 months
All right,
straight.
so Nikki,
Jesus.
like a time frame for games athletes, like dog year. So it's like 7 years for you.
Times 7 years. Got it. Okay, cool. Perfect.
Exactly. So that's right. You're buying a house. Do you feel the need to like one up Scott's home gym? Are you gonna have to build like this really awesome?
There's one on it already.
Yeah.
It came already built. It's a
Wow.
900. It's about a 950 square foot pole barn.
Oh, you're killing me, bro. Absolutely killing me.
We're coming over.
I
We're
know.
all on our
Coming
way.
over to
Yeah.
work out.
It's gonna be Saturdays workouts. The only thing I'm missing is a swimming pool.
Man, well, there you go. I guess you
50
got
meters. 50 meters, one lane. That's all I'm asking for.
Here's what you do.
Jeez.
We're going to do a gym partner WOD at your house. All you need to do is get like 15 shovels. And it's going to be shoveling for time. And we'll dig the hole. It'll be
Build
great.
a pool.
Yeah, and drop in a pool.
Perfect.
Yeah, everybody gets a lifetime membership.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on and giving us an update on the demo team. I think we've
Absolutely.
had so many people asking Nikki and I about it.
Yeah.
I think it's, as a matter of fact, I had someone actually ask me last night. They're like, why do they even do this demo team thing? I'm like, oh, just wait. We'll give you the details.
Just wait.
That's great. Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Of course.
Yeah, and I appreciate you not killing me too bad today. I actually feel okay.
There you
Wait
go.
till next week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
there it is.
All right.
This is a confidence building week.
Yeah.
He builds you up so he can tear you down, John.
Yes.
I'm not sure I've ever had a confidence building week before, so good luck with that. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Nikki, great time as always. Let's start planning our dad series. I think that's our next thing.
Love it.
And for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys spending some time with us, and we will chat with you guys later.